It's a brand new year. That means it's time for the torrent of obligatory top 10 lists. Alright, can I get an intro right now? Gaming in 2015 was plagued by many of the same problems as 2014. Buggy releases, an oversaturation of re-releases and remakes, community turmoil, and a whole bunch of shady business practices from publishers. In fact, with the things that have happened in 2015, you could argue that it was even worse than 2014. But there's one key difference, and that's the games. Because boy, did we get a whole bunch of great games that year. Before we begin, I'm going to lay down some ground rules. First of all, there will be no remakes, remasters, or expansions, though honorable mentions do go to The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth and Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. Second, if a game is episodic, it is eligible for the list if and only if the final episode of that series was released in 2015. Third, games are selected across the board without regards to budget or status. Fourth, games will be judged by their quality overall and how much I personally enjoyed them. Finally, this is my list and my list alone. If you don't see your favorite games on the list, then I either haven't played it or I didn't like it as much as the others. So feel free to leave your favorite games in the comment section below. Oh, and there will be some visual spoilers throughout the video, but nothing too mind-blowing. So with that all out of the way, here are my top 10 games of 2015.
As someone who didn't really like any of the Borderlands games all that much, I had very little expectations for Tales from the Borderlands when it was first announced. Boy was I wrong. Telltale Games, known for their more dramatic and emotional games, tackles the elusive art of comedy to great effect. The narrative-driven gameplay meshes brilliantly with the comedic timing and witty writing to create some of the funniest moments of the year. And the way that the gameplay switches between and plays off the two main characters is wonderful to behold. And the set pieces. What does Tales from the Borderlands have again? And that's just from the first episode. Tales from the Borderlands is easily one of Telltale's finest works. It's a wild ride that I'm glad I took. While Fallout 4 disappointed when it came to story, it more than made up for it in terms of pure gameplay. There are so many improvements from the last two games in the series that it's impossible to list them all. The combat is snappier and more satisfying, the crafting system is deeper, companions are more interesting and useful, the presentation is breathtaking, and all of these systemism improvements make exploring the wastes better than ever before. And the settlement building is a game unto itself. While it's still the same Fallout game you've played for countless hours, you'll be playing this one for many hours more. Also, you can have pink power armor. Did I mention that? Because you can have pink power armor. Splatoon is the freshest new IP Nintendo has created in a long time. It's a breath of fresh air not only for the big N, but for the stale shooter genre and the gaming industry as a whole. It's a game that puts strategy and teamwork above mowing down the enemy. As you cover the entire map in your team's colored ink, you have to keep in mind your position on the map, when and when not to use your sub-weapons and specials, how to help your teammates, and how to best cover the map in the most efficient way possible. Every single match plays differently no matter how many times you play on the same map and even with the same teammates. and the constant drip feed of new weapons and maps, along with special Splatfest events and even a single-player mode, ensures that you'll be playing this game for a long time. It's a game that delivers every time you play it, and for Nintendo to create such a consistently entertaining game is a major accomplishment. Splatoon has a place among Nintendo's biggest franchises. Even if you sneer at pretentious fluff, even if you don't believe games to be art, or even if you believe certain games to not be games at all, I still highly recommend that you check out Davey Worden's The Beginner's Guide, because it may just change your perceptions. In fact, the game is so introspective and visceral in its imagery and content that you can't help but question and ponder its themes of the interpretation of art and our drive for validation, especially if you're even remotely interested in game design and criticism. While I understand that everyone won't get out what I've got out of it, it still deserves to be played. As beautiful as it is haunting, The Beginner's Guide is one of the best examples of interactive storytelling and is a testament to the medium of games. The less I talk about it, the more you'll enjoy it, so just go out and give it a shot. If you're gonna end something, end it with a bang. And boy does Hideo Kojima end things with a bang. Likely Kojima's last project with the Metal Gear series, and likely the last MGS project anyone cares about before Konami ruins it, Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain is by far his most ambitious project. The game perfectly blends the classic stealth gameplay of the Metal Gear series with the freedom of open-world games. True to the cinematic nature of the series, each mission has a narrative arc with rising and falling action. You head to the mission zone, mark most of the guards, sneak past each guard, complete your objective, inevitably get caught by that one guard you didn't tag, and then get the hell out of there. And throughout the whole time, you have full control over how you get around. And because of the constant drip feed of new toys to experiment with, guards with different stats to extract to your base, and the effects of time and weather, every mission plays out differently and you're always in for new surprises. While it's the most accessible of the Metal Gear series, it still retains the difficulty the series is known for. Add to that managing the staff at your own base and developing projects through said base, along with a series of collectibles, and you have a game that will last you a long time. Oh, and the 80s soundtrack is just sublime. While the jumbled, rambling story and game-intrusive online features hold it back a tad, it's still the most fun I've had with an open-world game this year. So thank you, Kojima, and your team for making this glorious, refreshing take on both the open-world genre and the Metal Gear Solid series. May you and your team be successful in your future endeavors. Rocket League is soccer with cars, and it's brilliant. Just utterly brilliant. Rocket League takes a simple concept and fleshes it out into a beautifully elegant multiplayer experience. Behind the simple and wacky premise lies a deep and challenging game, as you're constantly deciding where to drive on the map and how to hit the ball. Do you boost in and smash into the ball, or do you hang back so you can hit the ball after one of your teammates does? What really sells this game, however, is the battle between two simple concepts, driving and playing soccer, mashed together. Sure, the driving is tight and the ball behaves just as you expect it to, but how you manipulate your car to hit the ball in the desired way is a different matter altogether. Every glorious victory and crushing defeat feels earned, and you feel yourself improving with every match. Add to that a drip feed of customizable options, and you have a game that never gets old no matter how many times you play it. And as someone who doesn't like sports games nor racing games, except for Mario Kart, I can't believe I played it for as much as I did. It's fun, it's fast, it's challenging, it's rewarding, and you can drive a car that shoots flowers and rainbows out of its rear. Super Mario Maker's creation system is so intuitive that you can take any idea for a level on a whim and make it work. Anyone can play and enjoy it, but tinkering with and mastering the creation tools can make for some truly enchanting level designs. And seeing the positive reception from other players playing your levels is intoxicating. And just like with Splatoon, the regular drip feed of updates keeps you coming back for more. While Super Mario Maker doesn't have nearly as many updates as Splatoon, the updates have much more of an impact on the game as a whole. In my review, the biggest problems with the game were that there was no checkpoint system and no reliable way of searching new levels, but the updates added just that, giving us a checkpoint system and a separate portal website that allows for easier browsing with tags and allows users to bookmark levels and play them later in the game. That's two of my biggest complaints completely fixed. I know that those features should have been there since launch, but for Nintendo to listen to fan feedback and make improvements based on that is highly admirable. Super Mario Maker allows us to not only apply our inspiration from game developers to our own levels, but to feel the satisfaction of being a developer ourselves. It's Nintendo's ultimate gift to its fans. I never imagined a game so horrifying, dismal, and hopeless can be so encouraging at the same time. Bloodborne is downright beautiful in its grotesqueness. From Software takes its famously challenging gameplay and turns it to 11, giving the player more speed, more healing items, and a big honking sword. But make no mistake, for your adversaries are even more brutal. I felt fear throughout the blood-soaked corridors and moonlit forests, but I also felt satisfaction and triumph. Bloodborne's design and gameplay is so polished that every victory is deserved, so long as you follow the rules and keep up the pace. No matter how many diseased townsfolk, living piles of flesh and bone, and Lovecraftian horrors you face, you always feel that maybe, just maybe, you got this. You're always driven to crack every secret, find every treasure, and survive every challenge. And with every defeat, you dust yourself off and get ready for more. Disgusting yet enchanting, crushing yet empowering, Bloodborne is one of the best achievements of the year. It truly is a game to die for. Yoshi's Woolly World is the Yoshi's Island successor that fans have been waiting ages for. There have been a few sequels, but none as good as this. Yoshi's Woolly World is not only just as much of a classic as Yoshi's Island, but it even improved on some of the flaws of the original. Woolly World takes the same flawless controls, colorful graphics, and memorable level design and adds even more collectibles and challenges. Not only that, but there's an actual purpose in collecting things other than an arbitrary 100% completion status, as you can unlock more skins for Yoshi and even more stages. And just like with the original, the game is as difficult as you make it. While you can breeze past most of the stages, it takes a determined effort to comb the entire level for all of the collectibles. It may prove to be a daunting task, but the clues you stumble across ensure that the task is never frustrating, and the fact that it's difficult because you set out the challenge for yourself makes it all the more satisfying. Oh, and I can't talk about this game without mentioning the graphics. It really does look like everything is made out of wool or some other arts and crafts material. It's one of the best looking games out there purely on an artistic level, and I just want to squish my face against it. Yoshi's Woolly World takes familiar gameplay and presentation and gives it a creative new spin, just like the very best Nintendo games. As a huge Yoshi's Island fan, it has me in stitches.
And finally, we get to the #1 game of the year. There have been many fantastic games, but few were as impressive as this one. It's an instant classic on the PC and one of the most determined efforts of the indie community. So everybody, please get your hands together for Shower with Your Dad Simulator 2015. Do you still shower with your dad? Just kidding. It's actually Undertale.
I play a lot of games, but I can count on my fingers the games that have had a profound emotional effect on me and have shown me the true power of games as a medium. Undertale is one of those games. Undertale makes one think of Earthbound and Persona 4 while being a JRPG classic in its own right. Fans of those games will immediately catch on to the quirky characters and themes of friendship, but through the game's mechanics as well as its story and presentation, it becomes something so much more. It's a work of art that could only work in the medium of video games. Sure, you can kill every monster you see just like in every other JRPG, but the game also gives you the option to spare monsters, and figuring out how to spare monsters through interactions with them that play out almost like riddles is just as compelling as getting the timing right for an attack. And because you can dodge monster attacks through bullet hell gameplay, success comes down to pure skill rather than chance. This means that you never have to grind, ever. Most importantly, exclusively pacifying or killing monsters changes the story and themes of the game, with the pacifist route dealing with the themes of friendship and hope, and the genocide route examining just what happens when you grind for experience points killing monster after monster. But it's the player's choice and the combination of both themes that drive home the main theme. It's easy to succumb to fear and resort to violence, but it takes determination to work things out peacefully so that everyone can be happy. Of course, the game is nothing without its simple yet compelling writing and presentation, and they carry the game through all of its emotional highs and lows. The game is unapologetically silly by default, featuring a huge variety of witty jokes that never fall flat and characters that are instantly lovable. But while it is very quirky, it can be somber and tragic in equal measure, turning simple, fun writing and characters into some of the greatest writing and characters in all of gaming. While it made me both laugh and cry, it also made me terrified. The game takes track of everything you do, and I mean everything, and it uses that to its advantage to truly unnerve the player, breaking its own rules and tearing the fourth wall to shreds. The spider web of code necessary for this game to run is incomprehensible, and the fact that it was all created by one guy, and Game Maker of all things, is even more unbelievable. In an entertainment market filled with remakes, remasters, re-releases, and sequels churning out the same gray sludge we've been consuming for years, it's easy to lose faith in the video game industry. But as Undertale demonstrates, there is still hope. Undertale provides a creative beacon in a world of darkness that will continue to inspire generations of gamers and game developers. It is a true classic and an exemplar of everything that makes video games special. So thank you, Toby Fox, and everyone that helped you out. Thank you for making this beautiful, wonderful game, and thank you for inspiring me to stay determined.
So that's it for my top 10 games of 2015. Again, feel free to let us know about your favorite games of 2015 in the comment section below. And be sure to check out the UWM Post's official Steam page. Link is in the description below. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and have a very happy 2016. It's a brand new year. That means it's time for the torrent of obligatory top. In fact, with all the downright ridiculous things that have happened over the course of so feel free to leave your favorites in the thingamajigger